Okay, it doesn't happen here often where I get experts to come to me. I normally have to go to them. So I convinced Mike.
Yep.
We did a great video last time, I thought.
Yep.
So there's a few really minor dents in the EM1 that we want to perfect.
Yep.
So we're going to talk a little bit about dent removal, maybe metal correction. There is a term called metal correction. It is something that can be done.
It can.
We're going to toy with that a little bit here today.
Yep.
But a lot of millennials are watching these videos now, so we got to go. You and I can't do our normal thing, so let's do this.
Alrighty.
So you take us through, and I'll ask you questions.
All right. So on just eyesight alone, you know, you're going to be able to pick up the door, the waviness of the door, especially now that it's polished. And then we start getting into three-dimensional lighting, which these bars are reflecting right now. And unlike a paint correcting light, this is going to show depth. And right now I can read every single piece of orange peel in this paint.
Yeah, right.
Which you can see.
Anybody, even I can see that.
Anybody can see. And it's interesting, as you look below the door and the things that you're seeing on the top part of the door, I mean, I catch 8 low spots down below that molding. You can see these are the 2 that are standing out the most, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then as we look down, they carry. So it's determining based off that door what is factory and what isn't, right? So your traditional dings that are standing out are obviously that quarter panel.
It's hard to see that, harder to see it until you put that light in there, and then it's clear as day.
And then it's clear as day. A very soft one. Probably its total circumference is right at a quarter, which is 1.25 inches. 2 little factory blemishes there. This is a factory bend here that you could even correct if you wanted it.
Right on that.
Yep. So this is where the panel turns. So you have to have a natural bend, and so you get kind of a high and a low. We'll go check the other side. Obviously, we can check rails, roof, hood, trunk as we lower the car. And we'll just work on these bigger panels right now. Little dime-sized dent here. We've got some low, again, so you have your matching on this side, so naturally it would make sense you don't correct something like that. You leave something like that. A little bit of a low spot here. Common if you think about like where you are in relation to this car, you're gonna have a little bit of a low spot. So Matt, come down like that on that door. So turn your eyes to go with it. There you go. You see something in the middle of the door that looks...
I see 2 of them. One further, about 3/4 of the way up, there's a big
low
concave, and then there's that one little ding thing.
So this one here, the camera will never pick it up, but this is a PDR attempt here. My eyes are trained to see that in the bottom of that like high, there's some texturing that doesn't match the rest of it. So that means that at one point this car had paintless dent repair done on it. Without the light on it, it would never really show up. But again, it can be better. And
it's funny, am I seeing like the flexing around the door handle?
You are now.
Like bubbling around the door handle where it's been opened and closed because it's super thin.
Yeah.
Interesting. You'd never ever see without that light on.
No, this is this light put on after painting is man, it's the killer. It is it would definitely haunt people who've had a paint job done that are really proud of it. That they might not be so much afterward.
So in comparison to other 20-year-old Civics, how are we doing? We're doing all right?
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This is
I'm pretty
People have
pleased.
no idea. This is as good as a brand new Civic.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, as far as paint condition, which in thinking about paintless dent repair, it's so important to have good paint. The shinier, the glossier it is, the more reflection, which means more detail. The longer you can, create what's called a skimming of the light. So the further I keep pulling back this light, and then I can also work in position to it in line of sight, is going to create more definition. So I can make a dent that is the size of a dime potentially show up and look like the size of a $50, which is not a trick. It's just showing its true full circumference. Let's start right back here on this left rear quarter. It's going to be close. I might have to make it a little bit of a dent and then take it out.
So we talked about this before for the benefit of people who haven't seen the original video. I remember I told you my weekend plan was I was going to go take a PDR course. And, it's like a 5-day course, get all the tools, it's like 10 grand.
Right.
And I'm like, if I had all the tools and somebody taught me how to use them, I'd be good to go, right?
Yep.
Well,
Doesn't work out that way, does it?
then once I started to realize and get into the artistry and the art form it is and how many years it would take to save $100.
Yeah.
For me, it's not about saving. It wasn't about saving the money. It was about the knowledge pursuit and then the ability to just not have to go anywhere. Just pull it in my garage and do it. The problem is how much of this is you got to stay practiced.
So I've had the luxury to train almost about 30 guys. And I've seen grown men come to tears. I've seen guys quit after 3 days and walk out that you never would.
Yeah.
This is the one of all the automobile trades that you can have zero error in doing it yourself, right? So wheel repair, you can just keep grinding it down, cover it with paint, it looks okay, right? You can pick up a polisher and you can start going to town and polishing, get a good result. With paintless dent repair, you have science, you have engineering, and you have art, and then you got to have willpower. We're doing some very simple stuff in the grand scheme of things. Some of the stuff that I fixed. Spent 3 weeks on a quarter panel before on a car. It isn't instantaneous that if you learn this, that you're going to even graduate to any kind of
Being good at it.
being good at it.
Yeah.
There's no substitute for time behind the tool.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's start with this high spot.
Polish everywhere.
Now, so first let me tell everybody who's watching what I really was doing and what you think I was doing. My eyesight is actually in between the bottom of that tap down and one specific exact piece of orange peel. So every tap that went up and down was just me lifting off the metal to look here to see how the shape was changing. There was nothing random about it. Every hit had a little bit of a different weight. That's the artistry side of it, where not so much as straightening the metal, but it's of your ability to temper your weight with something that weighs the same, but with a different level of force. So we took out this one here, and it actually blocked the vision of a second one. The light wouldn't allow it to bend around. Okay. You want to come?
I like those kind of dents. Nice and easy.
Yeah, who doesn't?
So that costs $100.
This is
Like if I was this guy on the street and they came to you and said, I want that out, how much did that just cost me?
it'd be $129
Yeah.
for that.
It's a good gig.
It is, but this
that's
is 0.00% of the time.
Yeah, I
It
got
doesn't happen.
But how many years did it take for that to make you $130?
Right.
That's 20 years.
It
right?
is. Yeah. It's 20 years and about. I can't even tell you. This is an amazing knockdown. It looks like a 50 cal bullet.
Yeah.
For me, how many times I've bought these tips, for instance, this is my 5th one, and I keep having to sharpen it, sharpen it, and sharpen it. It took so long for me to find this one, so I've probably spent $500 in these to get to this guy, to get to that result that quick.
Plus, you got to be good at disassembly and reassembly.
Well, you have to actually be more than good. You have to be able to do it without marring the plastic, breaking clips. As a paintless dent repair technician versus like a body shop technician, think about a body shop guy. What's the big deal if he's taking apart an interior and he breaks a part? Just can go ahead and order another part. Car's captured, it's there for
a week or 10 or a month. Or
customer doesn't know. Ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
You come into our shop and we're yanking an entire door off the car, and we're going to do it at 8 and give it back to you at 5. There's really not a lot of luxury, so you train yourself. Again, that was the benefit of really cutting my teeth with hail.
Yeah.
With hail, you're taking apart everything. I mean, it's full access to every panel. But again, since this is going to be somebody's car, and we're here to do the right thing, we're going to correct it all the way. So.
Is it sad that I only care about myself? I want it to be good for me right now.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's the whole thing with this, the giveaway idea, the concept for me is that I'm not going to do something for the giveaway. I'm doing it as if I was going to keep this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, it will be a part of you, though.
Yeah, right.
Always.
It'll live forever. And so that's why, I think that's why the giveaways are successful, and why I can spend $100,000 on a car and recover that, because I'm going to do what anybody else would have hoped to do.
Glue pulling, in a lot of instances, is a lot more difficult to achieve the result than just pushing. It takes longer to learn. When you're training somebody paintless dent repair, they'll spend their first, at least is how we do it, you'll spend about 4 weeks with me before I'll even let you touch glue pulling.
Is that because it's harder to do, or because it's you're cheating?
No, it's harder. From a standpoint of error, and everything about paintless dent repair is limiting error all the time.
So it's hard to know when to apply something like this.
Right now, that glue tab is covering the dent. And so if I don't apply that glue perfectly in the bottom of, here's a tab, this is the exact tab I'm using. So you can see how there's a ringed darker center. It's all feel now. So now I've got to put glue perfectly in the bottom of this, in the center. We'll let you try it. You've got to be able to get it to break perfectly, because even a little bit of glue going off the side, it's going to create a circumference issue. And then as you're reaching to go put it in, it's got to go perfectly in the center of the dent. So all 3 things have to line up. And then your feel of pull. So this one, because it's coated, I'm just going to give it okay, so it's grabbing a little bit more now. Because I've glue pulled for so long, I can feel this. I know this dent, I know this metal, I know how hard I need to pull. I felt this in my hand for 20 years, not this specific one, and so a lot of people will think that doing this is going to be beneficial to look, and in the beginning it is. So breaking it away, I've got to be able to break this tab out and create a high spot doing so. So if, and it happens to me all the time, happens to everybody, we don't always still put the tab on dead perfect.
So what you're hoping to do with this this glue pull is you're going to pull it's not going to pull just the dent, it's going to pull it out, and then you're going to
knock it, just like we made a high here, or had a high here, we're making one here.
Funny, I called you, said, hey, I got one dent. And you're probably laughing.
Yeah, I was laughing.
No, I only got one, Mike. Just one.
Yeah, on a 20-year-old car. You have one.
So there's some waviness, so it might be something cool we can work on.
Time of dry, so flash of glue will determine things too, like how long you let it sit. Yeah, the metal, this is flexing a lot easier than if we got up into here.
Yeah.
So with this one, you can do it by hand like that.
Because it's a big,
It's just
panel.
so soft. It's so soft.
Like if this was a Porsche, would it be different?
Yeah, absolutely, it would be different. If it was repainted, we wouldn't be doing this at all. Quick way to lose your beautiful repaint is to put it in the hands of somebody who glue pulls.
You yank it right off.
Yank it right off.
You see any paint on this car?
I don't. No, it's factory.
I had thought that all like the trim and stuff, a lot of the trim was repainted. Well, come to find out, a lot of the plastics and the trim, it turns purple. Like all this back here, like this thing here is purple. It's just the material, and I guess they paint them in a different spot. And so as they get older, it kind of turns a little bit different color. So it kind of is it's almost a tell, I guess, that the car hasn't been repainted.
No, so you see how uniform the texture is in the orange peel as we've been kind of scanning this car?
That's a giveaway.
It is, it's the ultimate giveaway.
Yeah.
Depth too.
Yeah.
Most new cars are 50 microns.
Yeah.
So, you can sand 50 microns to make a dent.
Mm-hmm.
Teslas are pretty popular with that. A lot of people see that now, where they'll have like what looks like a real big paint defect and you put a light on it. It's been somebody sanding something out the factory level.
So how effective can you be, like in a day? Like, can you do this for 10 hours? I mean, I'm sure you've done it, but like now that you're seasoned, I mean, do you do 12-hour days, or
No.
do you limit because you only have so much creative juice in you,
Yeah. So that's a good question. Now that it's 20 years down the road plus, there are no 7-7s anymore left in me,
Yeah.
really. I've done it. It's not something that I want to do. If, we're working on tight deadlines, priorities are different too.
Yeah.
I'm not 25 anymore. So yeah, from a creative standpoint though, just specifically with doing this job, I could do 12 hours of these cars. But, when you get into reshaping an entire door that is going to take you 10 hours to do, you just can't. Some days, it's just hard.
Yeah, you lose focus. So for all you Honda boys watching, this is what we're doing here is going to be thousands of dollars. So just keep that in mind when you call Mike and say, hey, can you pull all my dents like that for like $80? It's not happening. I'm telling you that.
It's
right
not,
now.
yeah. It's.
But for me, in a car of this level like this, I mean, this is worth it to me, to make that expense and make the car great.
All right, one more.
But this is going to be a $100,000 Honda Civic. I say that not to brag, but so that you understand what There's different levels of PDR as well. What we're doing here, and Mike's on the upper echelon of doing this. And so we're these guys are generally working on GT3s and GT2s, and but the customer owns the GT2 also has an F-150 too.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, I don't discriminate about any of it. It's
And he'll work on your Honda. Just know that Don't waste his time.
Look, I'm making it harder on myself by glue pulling this little low spot, just for the sake of not, keeping the integrity of every interior trim, which is, and if customers are watching, you don't think that is a big deal. You don't think that that's a valuable proposition, not drilling. Educate yourself. I mean, glue pulling is not the easy path. I'm not making this,
It'd be easier pulling off the fender liner and taking the wheel off.
Well, you can't get through here, but, we're talking about taking that interior quarter trim out.
Got it. Or drilling a hole, which is what you want to try to avoid if you can, right?
That is only in the instances where you're up against either PDR or conventional. So we'll get this out of the way right now. What I mean by that is, let's say, heaven forbid this doesn't happen, somebody backs into this quarter panel right here. And so from here to here, it is crunched. You're only going to be able to, with a quarter panel, access so much from this opening after this panel is taken out, that you may be in a position where one hole, which, by the way, cars have them all over. There's beautiful factory plugs. I could show you 10 on this car right now. Mm-hmm. You'd have to weigh that balance. Do you want a 3/8 hole, a 1/2 inch hole, somewhere, repainted back the color of the car after you've drilled it and then plugged? Or do you want to lose this whole factory paint? Mm-hmm. In this case, we're cutting this window out. You're cutting this window out, right? You're disassembling, you're losing your original VTEC sticker.
And the reason you do that, you'd repair this, because you can't just pull this.
This is a quarter panel. Yeah, it's all one piece welded to the car. All right, so finally, the littlest dent that we've done is done. So we're going to work on, I'm going to knock that down, I'm going to knock that down, I'm going to do this low check right here. One obsessed quarter panel.
Dang, that's so cool.
All right, so I'm just gonna wipe it. I'm gonna do one reverse check, guys. So I'm gonna bring this light back and let it hit coming back this way. Check for all the variances of angle.
And in case all you guys are wondering, from a detailing perspective, what I'll likely do is just XO. So I'll just do another coat of XO on all the panels we work. And because some of the areas is gonna remove a good percentage of the coating. And so we'll go back and I'll just put a coat of XO on it, and that'll take care of any areas where we removed it. Because it's hard to reapply it, CSL, to reapply it, it doesn't stick to itself. So you just be wasting time moving product around, but XO will stick after the fact.
So the reason why I switched light angles is to find the variance. Metal's pretty interesting that way. She likes to hide. The light will only reflect. If you think about, you're standing on one side of a mountain range versus the other, sun is setting. You're only going to see the sun if you're on the side it's setting on, which is kind of like this little bit of a low that we're still playing with. So as I have the light coming this way, of course, as my eyesight's looking this way, I can't see the back side of that dent. It's all about being able to get right to the back side of the metal. This is a stainless steel metal velvet backed guard. So it's going to create an impenetrable barrier between me and that glass. I like to leave the window a little bit rolled up. It's how I was taught to push. Again, like that. So I can actually feel the window wedge or the window guard hitting your main brace that's running across. I'll try to take it a little bit of a step further in doing that. Now we're going to work on depth, and then we'll attack texture meaning it's factory orange peel. Variances once depth is settled. You know, we're talking about microscopic variances in some of this stuff. So I'll dispel any myth if you guys zoomed in on watching the metal flexing in the light. The common theory is that that's probably what I'm looking at, right? I'm just watching this light kind of flex and move. I'm really staring, again, just like we talked about orange peel. For me, the way I do it, it's all about watching one specific piece of orange peel change shape.
On the dent or past the dent or
on it?
On it, got it.
Right on it. If you stay focused on your texture, meaning you're not creating either through tapping and or pushing, as you're attacking low spots, things of that nature, high spots, if you stay very aware of how you're making it, you will become a better dent technician. This dent has a little bit kind of like a nick in the paint. Step one is we've got a perfect center push right on that little paint nib. So this is a Toll Cut Company dry sanding technique. If anybody's sanding, learn dry sanding. The light obviously is going to help me. 20 years of doing it, it's going to help me. I'm using the light, again, to my advantage, and I'm looking through the gray sanded area. I can actually see through it to make sure where I'm at as far as have I actually got that out before I have to polish, and then check. Obviously, because we're sanding, so this is 3000 grit. You know, I'm going to polish with a Griot's fast correcting microfiber, and then second step it with Griot's perfecting, the ultra fine pad. Me down this way again. Any technicians that are watching this, you guys sand, open your eyes to really finishing it off compared to using your drill with the wool pad. It makes all the difference in the world. Well, we're officially done with one side of the Civic project. So what I'm doing right now is just, you know, initially with Matt, didn't inspect it, the hood, the top surfaces. Now it's a little bit lower. We can do so. And this, I'm looking for really distinguished stuff. We're not gonna worry so much about any little factory defect as we would on other panels. Look at that guy hiding. All right, so these are the three things that we're going to address. So tool selection, it's either what you like, if the area allows you to, so that means it's wide open, right? Like no brace, there's no having to get in, or it's I've got to be able to. So this is the tool we used in the door. This is just razor thin here. A little bit, I guess not razor thin, but you see how small the head of this is. This tool, for me, is no different than this tool. It's all the same. It's all doing the same thing. I'm using that end of it is just as sharp as that end of it, which is what you're using almost 99% of the time. you can use the back heel of this, but again, it's still all the same. You're trying to apply precision pushing right in the spot that you absolutely need it. So yeah, all these tools look very different. The design of them are all to help create leverage, access, and line of sight. Line of sight being that you are as down the line, like imagine shooting a gun. You'd never do that over here. So the more that you're straight on with the dent, the better off you're going to be. As far as leverage is concerned, I'm just creating it with my wrist. You could build a fulcrum point hook and do this with a rod, but when you're looking at like ultimate control, the metal's thin enough too. Now, if this was aluminum, it'd be hard, a lot harder. Some of the high strength steel is even, pretty improbable. But again, talking about line of sight, I mean, I couldn't have it any better. I mean, I'm down the line of, isn't it amazing how you can see every little thing? So that buckling, we're going to check from this angle.
People are going to be excited to be like, the video is way better when Matt went away for 30 minutes.
Okay, so
I didn't even know there were any imperfections in the hood.
Yeah, you missed one right there that was really a straightaway ding.
I didn't actually buy this car to drive it because it freaking sucks.
You have, well,
it sucks so bad.
How awesome was it when you were 18 though?
Oh my gosh, it's the greatest car ever.
No, this is, they always say like surfing is the king of sports.
Yeah.
Right? PDR is probably the hardest one.
Car trade, yeah. This was the dent I called you about, right?
Yep. Yeah, this is the one.
I only got one dent. That's it.
Interesting, seeing it in your camera lens is completely different, but you're seeing 5 white bars, you're seeing 5 grayish, darker bars, or 1, 2, 3, 4. The leading edges are leading edges of the square itself. So for me, where the bars really are amazing, and again, this dent light Elimident, is I can transition my head, which changes my eyesight, to use each leading edge of each bar against this dent to create different definition. So in the beginning, when I want to see like the absolute bottom of a dent, none of these were really deep, so we didn't have to do anything like that. But I might literally put the light right over the top, and I'm going to look through and down into the bottom of the dent, so that way when I'm pushing, I'm seeing exactly where I'm at.
So this is a glue pull dent here?
Yeah, we're going to glue pull it.
And you were saying glue pull, right? Not glue pull. First I thought you were saying glue pull, like glue.
We're going to glue pull. Should just be called glue repair, glue dent repair. How's that? A glue PDR. Even though I hit the center of the dent, and even though I pulled, this is a common thing that happens. It's just wants to kind of try to lift only one side of the dent. Because down in the bottom of the dent is another bottom that is a little bit blacker and pronounced. And that's what's going to try to hold, believe it or not, that tiny speck that's that big will try to hold that whole entire dent down. Even though it's a shallow dent, it has that.
Does that mean you just keep glue pulling different areas?
Just keep glue pulling. You still always kind of need to be in the exact center. We're probably going to have to collapse this little bottom, meaning I'm going to have to try to pull it and grab the edges of the bottom nugget of the bottom of the dent and shut it down and kind of close it on top of itself and then open it back up. I have been on dents that I've glue pulled for 3 hours. Okay, this little one, not as fussy as the last one. Got one little pull left, and then I probably jinxed myself saying that, by the way. The one dent that Matt Moorman wanted done is done. The one. So our bigger, broader low spot here is from, just tell you it's from painting at one time. Yeah, you can kind of see in the light reflection, you see that texturing going on there. Maybe a little bit more of a satin finish.
That's different than the rest of the car.
Yeah. So
pretty good. They did a pretty good job.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
So things I look at painting different than detailers even look at painting. What's impressive about it is, well, color match obviously is perfect, but its lay of how it laid the metallic down.
Yeah.
It's pretty uniformed.
Well, what can also happen is that a lot of these cars when they get delivered, in the delivery process, because I don't think these were made in the U.S. I think these came over from Japan.
Oh yeah, and shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a good story
Even if
about
there's
that.
no reported damage, a lot of times, because they don't have to report that.
They don't have to report a lot of things that they don't report. We're going to open the garage door. We're going to do an actual real light walkthrough.
God dang, this car does look cool though. Look at that little thing.
That is cool.
This angle right here,
That's
especially when I get the Mugen seats in there.
You found a time capsule.
Yeah.
All right, let's check the rails and the roof, and then.
So my process normally is I detailed it, polished it, and coated it, and then the first wash is when I'll go chase all the cracks, all the polish and of all the jams and all the cracks and crevices. So I haven't done that yet. So don't judge me.
Oh, I judged you.
Yeah.
When I opened the door and I saw it, I was like, this is
amateur hour here.
Second-rate operation. I'm totally calling you out. Somehow everybody wants your second-rate cars. I don't get it.
This one's going to go to somebody for free, for like a $35 T-shirt purchase.
Is that how you're doing this one?
Oh yeah.
Matt, bud, you have a dent-free, spec'd out, flat-bodied 2000 on the Civic. Ready for next phase.
Give me the reel here. So I bring this to you, bring it to the shop. I say, I want you to do what you just did.
Yeah.
What does that cost?
On this one, you'd be at $700.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
It seems cheap to me.
I know. I'm not that expensive.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm an easy date. It's not worth going overboard and saying it's 1,000 because you're not quite there. I didn't have to take anything apart.
so is that something you generally agree to? If people would want to know up front.
We only write quotes at our shop. Everything we do is a quote. So I don't believe in estimates where you give them a range. Once at my point in my career,
Yeah.
You know what you're going to have to do. Like this car, I dissected it immediately. I knew every single angle I was going to work at.
Yeah.
What I needed to do to access every dent. So, not taking anything apart. How many panels did we do? We did 6, 7 panels. It ended up being $100 a panel, if people want to think about it like that. Interestingly enough, 1 quarter-size dent at my shop is going to cost you $129 for every dent past that. If they're all that size and smaller, they're $50.
So are you pretty typical?
I'm not the highest priced by any stretch of the imagination.
But that's about what people are going to expect somewhere in that range to do.
It's not the $50 thing that happened here. I didn't treat it like the $50 thing where I wouldn't even have touched half of this stuff if it was the $50 thing.
Yeah.
That would be reserved more for, what guys get on the internet and they start reading how much a dent should cost.
Yeah.
It's $50. Well, we can argue, that if I hit one in the corner of this hood, you know, deep and sharp, or I put it in the rail, both are really hard to get to. It's going to cost a little bit more. So, you know, we do it based on a measurement of inches. We're usually about 30 to 40% cheaper than traditional paint and body work.
Yeah,
92% of our repairs are done in the same day.
Less downtime, yeah. No mess.
No Carfax, no. I mean, how long of a list do you want to create of all the benefits Paintless Dent repair?
Yep.
Done by the right people. Since we have a standardized pricing system, when you come in, we realize now, everyone who's watched, the light shows you the true size.
Yeah.
Since it wouldn't be fair to kind of just make it up, and since you would pay me whatever, I wouldn't do that to you. We measure it with you. So literally, soft cloth tape measure, we measure it, we measure the depth, and then we know the location, we talk about that, and then we use software on our phone, gives you an exact price. So
cool.
Temperament of metal, tensile strength of metal, so aluminum versus high strength steel versus ultra high strength steel changes the pricing by percentages. It's a beautiful thing, it really is. I'm very thankful to be in the industry.
I'm excited. Thanks for coming all the way up here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate your time.
Yep.
Go to the Dent Company, Instagram, Facebook.
Dent Company, Instagram, straight away, the Dent Company, Facebook, tdcpdr.com is our website.
And you guys are on Nebraska and North Tampa.
Yep.
I'd say make the drive. Awesome, man.
Yeah,
appreciate your time.
absolutely.
Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, thank
We're
you
not
guys.
supposed to shake hands, so we won't. I don't want anybody yelling at me.
I don't even know we're supposed to stand this close. But
Oh yeah. It's an optical illusion. We're 6 feet apart. Thanks, man.
I did my
Appreciate it.
temperature check before.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
go
thank
check
you.
out Michael's shop. And if you need something done, if you're anywhere in Central Florida, I'd send your car to. I mean, I send my car to Billy and Ryan and Michael and have them take care of the cars and things that I'm not capable or can't do. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. This Civic is going to be legit. So stay tuned for more Civic stuff. It's going to go a lot quicker than I thought. I thought this was going to take me 6 months to do. It might take less time. Thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy.